Well, I started off my hunt on a property with a winter wheat field that has been bothered by hogs, but after 3.5 hours, all that I'd seen is this one bobcat. I wasn't sure it was a bobcat until I got zoomed in, and definitely no tail. Carpe Sus. Next property of the night. I get out at the gate to open the gate, and there are hogs a couple hundred yards away out in the pasture. And I didn't think this was going to go very well for me because they are directly downwind from me. However, they're about 20 feet lower in elevation, so I don't think they smelled me. So what I'm going to do is go way around to the right and come around and approach them from crosswind. Here I've arrived at the position where I thought would be a good shooting position, and I think I can get closer. And I'm watching the hogs. It looks like they're just going through and spot rooting. In other words, making snuffle marks along the way. Here I've moved up laterally another 30 yards or so, and I've got a better view of the hogs. I've got a house way off to the left. That shouldn't be a problem. And behind the hogs I have a hillside, so I've got a nice backstop for shooting. And right now I'm trying to go through and inventory the hogs, try to separate out females from males. This is going to be a little male. You can see as I zoom in, it's got male genitalia.
That's a boar.
But of course I'd like to start off with a sow and not a boar. That I'm going to be shooting with my Lone Star Armory TX15 multi-purpose carbine enhanced in 6.5 Grindle, on top of which I've got mounted a Bering Optics Super Yoter LRF that has done very well for me. And I'm going to be shooting Spear TNT 90 grain bullets loaded by Druid Hill Armory into Starline Brass, and I have everything set up on my Mambly tripod.
Wind is blowing from left to right.
So with the grass this high, it's kind of hard to see underneath the hogs in order to get a good view of the genitalia. And it can be tricky sometimes because sometimes the appendage on the boar is smaller in size, and sometimes some of the older sows can have quite large teats that stand out and may mimic looking like a phallus, but in reality it isn't.
Looks like a boar.
And yeah, that definitely does look like a boar. That's a nice size hog. It's one of the larger ones in the group, but not the one that I'm going to be starting with. So I know where at least two boars are, so I'm going to start with this big hog in the back that I don't know what it is, and hope it's a sow. Then I pick up that boar, drop another one. Those 3 shots are all off. And then this guy comes to a stop. And with no more runners, I'm just doing quality assurance shots. For any of the hogs that happen to still be moving and look like they could potentially get up, like this one. Now, one of the things I often get asked as a hog hunter when people find out that I am a hog hunter is, how dangerous are the hogs? You know, how fearful am I of the hogs? And really, the hogs don't bother me nearly as much as what you see right here. I was walking around, I was going towards my very first hog, the big hog that I started with, and all of a sudden, there was no longer any ground beneath me. This is an old animal burrow, and it was completely covered over by grass, and I couldn't see it. Even though I had my headlamp on, it was on its brightest settings as I was searching for the hogs, trying to see as much as I could, and I could not see this hole. And I stepped into it, went down all the way to my knee. I hit hard. Fortunately, I did not hyperextend my knee, but this can be absolutely terrifying, especially in the dark when you're walking along and all of a sudden the ground is no longer there. So this is what I fear more than I fear hogs.
Brass Catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
Well, that first hog turned out to be a 200-pound sow, and she was very pregnant with 5 on board. All of the rest of the hogs were male, including a 165-pound boar and a couple of shoats coming in at 40 and 30 pounds.
Carpe sus, my friends.